Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at some raw cards. These are raw cards going in for a future submission. These will be probably sub 1 out of 5. I have about 5 subs ready to go. This is sub 1. We'll go ahead and just look through, try to get some pre-grading done, see if we can hit any grades for what we guess that they'll be. A lot of these cards aren't in the best condition, as you'll see. Like, there's a lot of scratches on this Machamp, but what's really cool about this card is it is a minor miscut. And this is a Cosmo foil one. And as you can see right here, there's a part of a swirl here, and there's a swirl here. So it's actually a partial double swirl, first edition minor miscut. Now looking at the back, there is some whitening around the edges, a little bit of dirt that will be cleaned off before being sent in. But looking at the condition overall, I think this card's going to get a 5. If it got a 5, I'd be happy with that. Like I said, most of these cards aren't in the best condition, but getting them graded just gets them off my list of stuff to do. Depending on what they come back as grade-wise, these cards might be up for sale. I do already have a big list of cards that are graded up for sale, roughly about 120 slabs. I will be posting that on my Instagram, Facebook, and I'll try to leave a link in either this video or a future video. It's a Google Doc. You can just click on it and look at everything. As they sell, I'll be removing stuff. Prices aren't set, so if you have any offers or anything, feel free to reach out. Anything that doesn't sell initially will either go to an auction house or be posted on my eBay. My eBay is under construction right now. It should be back up soon with hopefully roughly about 50 listings, all air cards. So excited about that. Now, this next card is actually not mine. This is a card for one of my friends. It was actually featured in another video. You can tell just by the shine. There's a lot of dents in this card. Otherwise, this card would be near mint. This card's in really, really good condition, except for these dents, and there's a lot of them. Now, we were talking, I think that this card, a fair grade for this card would be about a 3. Seeing this card in the light, it might get a 2 or 1. I'm honestly not sure how multiple dents would grade. I know usually if you have one dent, it automatically gets like a 4. So we'll see what happens with this one. This one will be graded and then sent off to him. But I will do a grading showcase when all these come back, and we'll see how close we are. So not starting off too great. First card estimated to be a 5. This one's 1 to 3. So there are some lower grades, but there's also some really fire airs in here. This card is also a minor miscut, first edition from Fossil, but it is in a whole lot better condition. I consider this to be near mint. There are a few light scratches here and there, some little edge wear, but if you look at the back, other than a little whitening here and there, this card is almost flawless. I don't see any dents or indentions, deep scratches. It's all really light. I'm hoping that this card gets at least a 7. maybe an 8. My other cards that are legendary birds that are miscut are 8s, and they are first edition too. So I would like to get an 8. But if it did get a 7, I wouldn't be too mad. If it got a 6, it would have to go. It's just too low of a grade for me, personally. Now, this next card is a super controversial card. Me and a lot of different collectors have went back and forth on this. I will do a close-up on this. We believe this to be additional white ink. You can see that it is a hollow, but it is speckled so strong that it actually blocks out almost the entire hollow. If they didn't point it out to me that this was a hollow, you would almost not even see it unless you had it at the right angle. Now this one, I'm really hoping gets the air. It does have some little damage here and there. It's not mint by any means. There's a crease here, there's a crease here. It is a little warped too. I will try to flatten it out before I send it in. Maybe some bends right here, little soft bends, some dirt on the back. I'm really hoping that this gets hopefully a 6, but it's probably going to be around the 5 range. I did spend quite a bit on this card, which I was okay with doing. This was from a friend of mine in the UK. It took about, I would say about 6 to 8 months for us to close the deal on this card. He really didn't want to let it go. I really wanted to add it. Him being in the UK, grading with CGC was a little harder for him. I told him, hey, I will grade it. If you want it back and it doesn't get the air, they say it's damaged, I'll be happy to get it back to you. But he was happy with our arrangement, ended up picking up a lot of different cards, which you'll see coming up. He's helped me get quite a few things. Being based in the UK, he has a lot of accessibility to other countries that I don't, because he shares a border with them. But yeah, really hoping that one gets the air. This is one that I believe came from the UK. It was just listed, I want to say it was listed as an air. This is an obstruction. It is a repeat obstruction. I don't know if this was like a tape transfer or a black ink smudge transfer. I don't really know how it happened. You can see it's even all the way down here. This card is mint, almost mint, near mint. I'm really excited about this. I got this at a really good price point, way under market for these. Being a repeat, you'll see like a 3 or 4 go for $300 or $400. I got this ungraded for a fraction of that, and I'm hoping it gets an 8. If I got an 8, I'd be beside myself. If I got a 9, I'd be incredibly happy. If I got a 7, I'd be okay with that. But if I got anything less than a 7, it would probably have to go as well. I don't really care too much about the grades, but sometimes you want a nice grade with a nice air. And knowing what I spent on some of these, I'd be okay with letting some of them go. With the associated air and grade with them, they should sell for better than what I paid and had invested into them. There are quite a few rocket cards in this stack. This is my raw yellow ink overspray. I do have a graded copy already. I feel like this one is a little stronger than my graded copy. I can't remember what grade my graded copy is. I just got it in, I want to say last week or something, from my buddy Millennium Rose. This one came from my guy in the UK. it'll be graded. It was part of the Arbok deal, as well as the next card. Yeah, I don't know what this one would get. It does have some edge wear. Maybe a scratch going through the hollow. Yeah, just some edge wear. I'd say this one probably would get about an 8, hopefully, unless I'm missing something. But you can even see on the left side right here, this happens a lot, but it always stands out to me. The little white line in between the yellow and the purple. It's a super, super minor misaligned print layer. Definitely won't get the air for that. You'll just get additional ink. But can't ever go wrong with this artwork, especially in air form. It's one of my favorites with the rocket grunt. And for some reason, these almost always have a swirl. Alright, last one from the UK middleman deal. But this one is, I want to say this one's also yellow ink overspray. It might be white ink. You can see all the little dots in the hollow. This one I am really excited to get graded too. I don't think I have ink air for the Dark Gyarados yet. I might. I think if I do, it'd be an insufficient ink, not additional. So this is one I do need to add to my set to complete it. Surely but slowly, I'll be crossing off one card at a time off my Rocket set. This is the last Rocket card out of this submission, but one thing you'll notice is not only is it a crimp air, but it's also in German. Now this came from my buddy who actually lives in Germany. He helped me get a bunch of German air cards. I want to say this card is near mint or better. Some of these cards I've had for quite a while, so I don't really remember the condition off the top of my head. There's a little whitening here and there. I don't really see too much else than that. Or it's maybe a print line or scratch going through the hollow. There's some tiny, tiny scratches right there. Some going up and down, probably from sliding in and out of sleeves. But for a German card, it is OC as well. It is maybe minor OC. I don't expect it to get both airs, but if it did, that'd be pretty cool. It might be a misalignment because the back looks more centered. Now, this is one of my new additions to my Hollow Bleed. I don't think I've shown this card off yet. I might have. Kind of look at so many cards every day that it all runs together. But this I got from a guy who's known by the Hollow Bleed King. And if you know him, then you already know. His collection speaks for itself. He has been selling off a lot of his Hollow Bleeds lately. I've been lucky enough to pick up the majority of them. There are a few that I missed out on that I would love to get, but this one was one of his last raw ones. Does have some good scratches and stuff, but being a Persian first edition from Jim, one of my favorite sets, definitely couldn't pass it up, especially for the price. I think this one probably get about maybe an 8. If you got a 7, I wouldn't be disappointed, But if it got an 8.5, I'd be really happy. I don't see this getting a 9, but it could. You never know. It all depends on the grader. This card also came from my UK middleman. I totally forgot about it, but it's the only non-rocket card that I got from him. Did I get this? Actually, this one came off of eBay. Yeah, this one came off of eBay. I was looking at them at the same time. I think I passed on the one from the UK. I got this one in auction. You can really see the yellow ink. All speckled. And it's funny how it kind of misses this spot. I don't know if that was just more white ink in the picture or what. It also kind of looks like some sort of like streak going through. I don't really know if that's part of the artwork or not. Haven't seen too many of these to really compare. I mostly just look at air cards. But it's in pretty good condition. I don't think there's any heavy damage to it. Yeah, it's just a little whitening down here. Everything else looks pretty clean on it. I would say probably an 8. I think an 8's pretty much like the main number that I'm going to be guessing for most of these until we get to some cleaner cards. I think it's just a hopeful number. It's like, hey, if it gets an 8, it's good enough, but if it gets a 7, could have been better. If it gets a 9, that's a little bit above average. I feel like an 8's kind of like the average standpoint. Now, this card is one that I am extremely excited to get graded. It might be a little hard to tell on camera, but it's actually a misaligned print layer Shining Gyarados. You can see more down here. This is not an effect from filming or a filter or anything. The letters are actually partially spaced. Like you can't even tell what letter's what in Shining. And the print layer actually comes over the edge right there. This one I'm so excited to get graded. I know it's not going to do too well. I do know it's in pretty bad condition. This one did go to an authenticator, and they pointed out that there was some stains on the card, as you can see down here. I will try to clean this card off the best I can without doing too much impact to it. But you never know. It's also off-center, which is really cool too. The only other card that I have is a misaligned print layer and off-center is my Shining Mewtwo. That card did not get both airs, but this one I'm really hoping. I'm going to fight with them to get the double airs. Because it's either a misaligned back and misaligned print layer, which is two different things, or it's OC, or minor miscut, and misaligned print layer. I know they have given out double airs similar to this one in the past, so if I have to track those cards down to make my case, I will. This card is not a double holo, which I see a lot of confusion on that. I used to have a hard time too when I first started collecting Neos, and a good buddy of mine basically told me that if you can see clouds in the background right here, then it's not a double holo. If you can see the holo flakes through the clouds, then it's a double holo. Another person told me that if they see this white right here that kind of goes up, that means it's a regular card. And if you don't see that, then it's double hollow. So I've seen different variations of hollow strength. Some make it easy, some don't. But this one, provided I get the stains off, if the stains are off and the card is cleaned a little bit, there is like some edge wear right here. This one's kind of a hard one to say. I'm hoping for a 6, but if I get a 7, I'd be really happy. Most of my Gyarados are over a 7. They're 8s and 9s and stuff like that, so this one would be really nice to see. But if I got a 5, I wouldn't be disappointed just because how great this card is, but you always hope for the best grade possible. Now, if you know me, you know this is one of my favorite cards. I have almost every type of air for this card: hollow bleeds, insufficient inks, additional inks. This is my OC copy. I also picked up a streak air recently. This was listed as just a regular card. I met the dude local, ended up working at a good deal. I don't know if this is going to be counted as an obstruction or just insufficient ink. One thing that we found out about these cards that you'll see kind of right here. See right here. Is that it actually has the streak air going through the whole card. There is minor hollow bleed if you get it just right. See, like right there, there's some flakes going through and a little bit more flakes. So this might be insufficient ink air. I wish they would give this designation because there's definitely more than 25 out there. And from what I heard, that if you get 25 of the same type of air card together and prove that it's a repeating air, you found 25 copies. They don't have to be submitted at the same time, but I think they have to, if they're already graded, you have to like provide certs, stuff like that. But this definitely needs to become the swipe air or brushstroke air, whatever you want to call it. I've heard a few different terms for this, but this is definitely something I've seen on a huge number of these. Almost all my friends that have this card have one of these airs. So it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's not rare, but it's not common, it's not uncommon. So it's in between like uncommon and rare. But it's definitely not like a one-off. I'll go ahead and guess on these. This one, I'm going to guess that it's going to get minor miscut. I really hope it gets minor miscut, not off center. This one I'm gonna guess will get a 7. Yeah, I'd be happy with the 7. The highest it could possibly get is a 9, just based on being off center. It dequalifies you from getting a 10 automatically. And this one was already either a PSA 8 or 9. I can't remember because I cracked it pretty much immediately after I got it. And I don't keep the old grading tags. But I would say that this one is a good chance of getting a 9, especially with CGC grading. This is one I've had for quite a while. I've had for probably too long at this point. This should already been graded. This one is a minor hollow shift. You can see at the top, this is a repeat air. I have seen them deny the air and give the air designation for the same amount of shift. This is another one that I will be fighting them on if they don't give it to me. We go round and round on Neo Airs. They definitely know me whenever I message. It's always an issue trying to get stuff fixed or have them explain why they did something a certain way. The centering's not perfect on this card. It is pretty clean though. No deep scratches, no dents. I'd say this one get 8.5. Yeah, I think about 8.5 would be really nice on this. Maybe an 8 because of the bottom edges, but definitely like 8, 8.5, 7.5 area. I am doing subs of 25, but with throwing in a few extras here and there for friends, it's closer to probably about 30 per sub. I do have about 4 or 5 subs ready to go. I do stagger them, so next week you'll see my next sub if I get this one sent out. If not, it'll be the week after. You might look at this one and be like, what's the air on this? It looks perfectly fine, you know, just besides some light scratches, but it's actually a misaligned back. This is my 4th one of these for Neo Destiny. I cannot get enough of these. I thought when I got my first one, I was ecstatic beyond myself. Man, I'll never get another one. And then another one popped up, and it was a dark Tyranitar. Then another one popped up, and then another one popped up, and then this one popped up. So this one came from a TCG player, somebody who plays the actual card game in tournaments and stuff. She lives in New York, and one of my buddies helped me facilitate this. It does have some damage, which it's not as ideal. The rest of mine are 8s, so I would like this to get an 8, but it's most likely going to get a 6, I think. If it got a 7, I'd be really happy, but I think about a 6 is probably, maybe 6.5. They give out a lot of half grades sometimes. Now, this is another repeat hollow shift. You'll see this quite a few times in the Neo set. I actually do have another one of these, which is not the same copy. You can see this one is just a tiny bit more shift, I think. It's hard to tell because it's only millimeters, but this one also has a really nice swirl in it, and the orb by the claw, which I really like. This one has an orb too, but it's all the way in the top, so you can't really see it that well. But this one will be cracked probably next week and put into either my 3rd or 4th sub going out. I do have a little stack of cards right here that will be cracked, and we'll guess the condition on those then. This card is really, really clean. It might just be a tiny bit off center. It looks like it's top heavy looking at it now. Yeah, it's definitely a little top heavy. This card's definitely going to get an 8 or better. Hopefully a 9. That'd be really nice, especially with the air. It'd go really nice with my other scissors. I have probably about 5 or 7, in between 5 and 7 dark scissor airs, and scissor from Revolution. It's a Revolution or Discovery? I think it's Discovery, actually. Now, this card I already know is not going to do too well. It is another hollow shift, which red on red makes it really hard to see. If this was not listed as an air, I would not have known that it was one. You can see too, like right here, right there. It does have some scratches into the card all the way into the hollow, even up top. I think this card's gonna get a 3 or a 4, but as long as it got the air, I wouldn't really be mad at it. But I would be up to selling this one if I found a better copy. If I found an 8 and this got a 4, this one would definitely go. Even if the one that would get an 8 was raw, I would definitely sell this one to upgrade. Now, this card is not an air. It was just really clean. I got a really good deal on it. It was already raw. It was part of a trade deal, and I want to say like trade value was like $50 or something because we were already doing a big deal. It does have a really nice swirl right there by the foot. It's decently centered. It's not cut the best. A little rough on the edges a little bit, but other than that, that's about it. I'd hope this get 8, 8.5. Most of my other ones are around the 8 range, so anything that fits into that area without being too much of an outlier is good by me. It's just one for the Tyranitar collection. Love that swirl. I can't wait to get this one encased. I need more dark Tyranitars graded, which my 5th sub that's going out is mostly Tyranitars and stuff like that, but it's all from the new set. Now, the new set just came out, but I have already picked up over 40 different air cards from it. I'm waiting on a few last things to come in before I show everything. I'm going to do that all as a video, and we'll go from there. But there's a lot of cool airs that are coming out, and I've already hunted down some airs in different languages, which is something I'm really excited about. Now, this is another really, really cool one. I think 2 or maybe 3 of my friends have already tried to buy this from me. You can't really see it right off the bat unless you know what you're looking for, but you can tell right here the borderline is shifted down. You can see it go through Shining Steelix into your deck, and then if you look here, you can see that this is shifted. You look at the energy silhouettes are shifted, and it is shifted into the border down here. This is a misaligned print layer. It is not the best condition. It is really, really rough. This was another one that I had authenticated, and the only 2 times I've gotten called from the eBay authenticator was for this Shining Steelix and the Shining Gyarados. And they called me both times to make sure I still wanted the card because it was quite damaged for what I was paying. I was totally happy with what I was paying. You can tell that this is water damage. This one is definitely going to get a 3, maybe less. I'd be happy with a 3 or 4, but who knows. I might try to humidify this and flatten it out some, but I haven't tried that before, so I might contact somebody I know who has done it a few times to get some guidance. Now, this card is super, super clean. There's just a tiny nick right there on the top. This is one that has been rejected so many times, and it makes no sense to me because I have 2 cards from the same set with the same air that have been graded by CGC. For some reason, they're not confident enough to grade this one, even though they already have done previous examples in the past. This was graded multiple times by other people. I said, hey, if you're selling it, you don't want to mess with it anymore, I'll buy it, I'll grade it, I will keep grading it until it gets the air, and I will fight them until it gets the air. So this is the first time this one is getting graded, but I expect it to not be the last. I imagine I'm going to have to send this card in about 6 or 7 times and pay the grading fee every single time just for them to not be confident enough in their job to do what they've already done previously in the past. I even have 2 airs from different sets. These are e-readers, and the other 2 I have are from Neo Genesis. They have the exact same air on the card. It goes through the borders, through the card, every spot that you can see. And it is true black ink over spray or transfer. And even my 2 Neo Genesis ones have been graded. So for this one to be the odd man out, it's really infuriating. The only reason that they've given that they can't grade it or won't grade it is they can't prove that it's a real air. To me, that's kind of BS, especially with the multiple examples already graded. But just because you can't prove something isn't real doesn't mean that it's not real. I wish they had that approach to other cards, considering how many fake cards that they've graded in their past. If you cut a card by yourself and send it in as a cut and crimp, they grade it as a legitimate card or a narrow miscut. But if you send in a legitimate ink air that they've already graded up to 4 times that I know of personally, because I have all 4 cards in hand, they refuse to do it. Literally blows my mind. It's where I lose faith in CGC. But until somebody better comes along, that's who I'm using. This was also another card that came from my middleman in Germany. This was actually the card that got us talking back and forth and got him to be my middleman. I saw this card, one of his friends was selling. I said, hey man, I have to have this. This thing's sick. One of my other buddies had an English copy that was, I want to say it was cut top to bottom, so it had a fat bottom, and I really wanted that card and I missed out on it. And then this one popped up. I said, hey, I'm not missing my chance this time. But really fat top. It is missing some card stock right there, so not the best condition. It will be a minor miscut, not an actual miscut because the border's still there. But I expect this card to get 6. There's not really any heavy dents or anything like that, any deep scratches. This being reverse hollow really helps not get a ton of scratches. But I have seen a bunch of those scratched up before. So this one's also a Delta species, but this one is French. And this is one of my more recent pickups, definitely within the last year. I want to say I got this card maybe about a year or 2 ago, and then this one came recently. So I am still finding Delta species miscuts. This one is a misalignment, not a miscut. It's kind of like this one. Almost, that's actually the same cut too. Same misalignment error. But this one is the hollow, and this one, no, this one's the hollow and this one's the reverse hollow. So that's why they're different. Like hollow letters and stuff like that. These might have been on the same sheet. I don't know if they print the hollows and reverse hollows for Delta species on the same sheet, but they have pretty much the same cut. This one, the Dragonite's a little bit thicker, but being a misalignment, it'll help it a lot. There is a print line right here, as you can see. Some people say that knocks the grading. To me, my cards usually aren't 10, so it doesn't take away from it being a 10 or anything. And I'm more about the airs than the grades. Everybody likes nice grades, but it's all about the airs to me. This also is another recent Delta species pickup. This was from one of my buddies. I want to say he lives in New York, either New York or Pennsylvania or something. So he is stateside, but this is another German Delta species, which is super cool. I'm not really too sure. I think this is a different set than the Deoxys. And this is a full miscut because it shows the next card down. So, super cool. I have shown this one off recently. This one is a little rough on the edges and stuff. I think this one will get a 6, but maybe it'll surprise me. You never know. Sometimes they'll do that. Now, these next few are the only modern cards in this submission, and they're only in here just to get my more valuable stuff just roped in and graded, just to expedite that. I do have some more WotC that I could have put in here, or, you know, some more shining cards or something like that, but figured I'd just kind of do a little bit of everything all at once. So this is my French OC copy, my Moonbrion. You can see it is just OC. It is a little twisted, kind of like that, but I don't think it definitely won't get twisted miscut or anything like that. I think it has to be an actual miscut to get twisted miscut. It can't be a minor. But who knows? They change their rules basically every time a new grader touches a card. But this one's really, really clean. So I think this would get at least an 8.5, but hopefully a 9. A 9 OC would be really nice. There's almost nothing wrong with this card, but when you look it up on like a digital scan or, you know, however they do it, they look at the cards really detailed. It might show something that I'm just not picking up. But one thing I can just never get over these texture cards like this. This card's really, really nice. Took way too long to get one, but now that I have one, I'm probably going to be hopefully collecting one of every language, hopefully an air, but if I can't get an air for a good price, then I'll definitely just get a different language one. Now this is another one that was off my want list for a long time. I did showcase this one in my mail day video. This and the Moonbrion came about the same time. This one I always wanted and I never really tried to get. I know one of my buddies is a Mew collector. He has a bunch of these. So I just kind of watched him collect them. And then one of them popped up on eBay, gave it a follow, and guy threw me an offer, countered back. We got back and forth a few times and finally settled on a number. So really happy with this. He had 3 other copies. If it grades really well, which I don't think it will grade too great, it is off center and misaligned texture. But it is a Japanese card, and the back is like super, super clean. There's like a tiny bit of edge wear right here. But other than that, super clean. All the edges are real clean except the bottom right there. You can't really even tell from the front. But yeah, if this one got an 8.5 or 9, or even if it got a 10, that would be crazy. But I never expect anything to hit a 10. The moment you say this will 10, that'll 10, it'll hit an 8. And you'll be super disappointed. So I always say expect nothing and be surprised by everything. So I don't expect any super good grades on these. I do kind of know what they'll go for, but it's kind of just wishing and hoping that it'll hit what I want it to, but not putting too much on it at the same time. This card might have came out before the Bubble Mew. Most of these have been in order by year, but these last few I just kind of threw in here. This one will be my first Shining Magikarp Celebrations Air card, and it is I want to say it's a minor miscut, but it shows alignment dot on both sides. They might grade it a miscut. It does have a crease right here, I'm just now seeing, and some edge wear. Honestly, I got this card in and I never even looked at it till just now. So, yeah, I think this would be a minor miscut. Hopefully it'd be a miscut, who knows. There's a dent right there on the front. With the dent, I'd probably say this card get about a 6. That really sucks seeing the dent now. Definitely wouldn't have bid on this if I had seen that big of a dent. At least for grading. I definitely upped my offer just to make sure that this was a gradable copy. This is a card that I was really excited to see pop up. I always love Slowking in general. My friends were able to find some obstructions like this, either insufficient inks or obstruction to the texture layer. You can see right here, it's missing all the texture from above. Like the house and everything's not textured. It's supposed to look like this going all the way through. They were able to find some unlisted copies. I did not have that luck. They were also going through every copy over eBay. I didn't have that much time at the time of this set being out between work and life. So this one popped up. I want to say it was like $120. It was pretty expensive, especially for what these airs are going for now. But being a mon that I liked, and not just a texture shift, but an actual obstruction to the texture layer, I was okay spending that. This is a card that I probably will not get rid of. This will be with me for a long time, but it also just depends on grading. With the edge wear and stuff, I want to say this one should get hopefully a 9. Modern cards do grade really well, especially stuff like this, because it has the air. You know, it might have like a difference in the texture layer or something, but because it's an air, maybe they'll overlook that. I don't really know how they measure texture and stuff like that on cards. Texture cards I'm still kind of new to as airs. Definitely more of a WotC guy, but as newer sets are coming out, I'm branching out into other stuff like textures and the new sets. Which, speaking of the new sets, this video of opening the box will be up this week. I'm going to film it after this video and upload it hopefully Wednesday or so. I'll probably give some updates about when it'll be uploaded, so stay tuned for that. This will be getting cracked really soon. And we'll start the Japanese binder. I did buy, I think I bought 5 lots, 5 bundles of bulk from Japanese Glory of Team Rocket. It was mostly to raw air hunt, but I want to say I got like 50 cards per bundle, and they were like $8 each bundle. So definitely didn't spend too much, but whatever I don't have in here, I probably have, at least for the commons, uncommons, trainers, energies, and stuff, probably have whatever is not in here. So that'll hopefully fill up a good chunk of the Japanese master set. And then whatever's left, I'll probably end up just putting on eBay as a giant lot. If it's 300 cards, it's 300 cards, or if it's 500, it's 500, and either do an auction or a buy now. But when I was going through everything, I actually found some old pack wrappers, and these are all Japanese packs, but these 3 are what really caught my eye. This one being Neo is my favorite set. I actually bought these off Amazon in 2014. I had to go back and look at the dates, but 2014 I bought all 3 of these packs for $20 altogether. It's absolutely insane that 11 years later these packs were astronomically priced. You can't find them anywhere. I was buying one of these Neo packs every week. Of course, everybody says the same thing. I wish I knew back then, I'd buy them all. Yeah, if I knew back then, I would literally have every single Neo product that was ever for sale in the last 11 years. Because that is just a gold mine. I want to say these were $5 each, and then there was shipping and tax on top. So if it was 5 each, it would have been 15. Shipping was probably like $3, and tax was like $2 or $3. So it was just over. It was like $21 for these 3 packs. I did have a lot more of these, but younger me was dumb and threw them all away. So I said, hey, I only need one of these to remember my good time that I had collecting. This is when I first got back in 2014, before I even knew about air cards or anything. I honestly was just holo chasing, and I said, how do I get as many holos as fast as I can? Buy Japanese packs. They're 1 holo per pack. The artworks are super sick. Stuff you don't see anywhere. I see people selling packs like this for crazy amount of money. I probably couldn't do it because the tops are missing, but these will be going into, this one will definitely be going into my Tyranitar binder, but these will also be going into just another binder. So I figured that was pretty cool, just to show these off a little bit. I will be trying to get a graded PSA 10 Neo Destiny Dark, I think they call this one Darkness to Light. When I was in Japan, I was at, I think the shop's called PDG, and they had a PSA 10 that almost broke bread in the store, but luckily we walked out. I price matched it, and their price, I know card shops have to make a little something, but their price was a lot more than eBay. I'm pretty sure that they would have price matched, but I also would have had to pull the cash out and travel back and deal with customs and passports and tax-free and all that. So decided to just wait till one popped up on eBay. Definitely need to add one of these to the set soon. Really looking forward to that though. I do have some more packs and stuff that are coming. Not really air packs, but some really cool vintage packs. Maybe we'll do a mail day video on there. Next video will be the box break, and then we'll go over some more subs too. So until then, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, message me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Reddit too. Pretty much trying to get out on every platform, so anybody wants to reach out, they can. Always interested to see what people have to say. So message me and I'll give you a response back pretty quick. Thanks everybody.